Please advise if you can see the screen. Okay. Let's see. Where do we want? Do you see where it says assignment? My screen visible?
Yeah.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes.
Wonderful. So this is your assignment, Economics 1A assignment due on 22 April. That's like a few more months, 2 or so months that you have to go through the assignment. So what I'm going to do, because I also don't want to confuse you, because remember, we just did an introduction to economics. So I don't want to pick a lot of questions which might end up confusing you, which you know nothing about. So I'll just try to pick maybe 1 or 2 questions which I see I've already covered in the introduction and just highlight how you would have answered that particular question. So just as a form of you to see what we do within the class. So it might not be that long, it might be just for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so, just for you to see what I'm talking about. All right. So your assignment has got some different sections. Let's see. Like I said, I will not pick everything because I know some of the concepts we have not yet covered them. For example, you can see the first question, what type of economy is South Africa? Right. What type of economy is South Africa? But for this one, let me do it this way. Let me explain this concept because I don't want to explain it again. Let me just explain it once. It's a very straightforward concept. So remember, we introduced the 3 economic questions, right? We said, what are the 3 economic questions? What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, how to distribute. Those are the 3 economic questions, right? And we said that they need to be answered by the economic agents. They need to be answered by the people that are in the economy. What are they going to produce? How are they going to produce it? And how are they going to distribute? Now, when you answer these economic questions, right, your answers are either going to be 3, 4, let's say 4 things. Usually it's 3 things, but let's say 4 things just for the purposes of this question. There are going to be 4 things. Either you answer those questions, right, and say we are going to use a command system to answer the 3 economic questions. Or you are saying we are going to use a market system to answer the 3 economic questions. Or you say we are going to use a traditional system to answer the 3 economic questions. Or we are going to use a mixed system to answer the 3 economic questions. Now you might ask, James, what is a command system? What is a mixed system? What is a market system? What are you talking about? Now, let's explain now. When we are saying a command system, we are saying it is a centralized economy in which the 3 economic questions are answered by a central command authority, i.e. the decision of what to produce. There is a government board or a central planning authority in that country that decides that for this year, we are going to produce 50 cars, we are going to produce 50,000 tons of wheat, we are going to produce 50 bales of clothing, we are going to produce 50 liters of milk. There is a central planning authority that decides what to produce, how to produce, and how to distribute.
Economy, a traditional system, a market system.
I think there's someone speaking in the background. If it's not a question, please mute your mic. Okay, it's quiet now. Thank you. All right. So that's how they answer it. That's the command system. There is a central planning authority. What are the common features in a central planning authority? Number 1, there is what they call annual planning, where they meet maybe annually or every 2 years or every 5 years to plan and say, for the next year or for the next 3 years, this is what we are going to produce. Right? There is centralized decision-making, right? Centralized decision-making in the form of the same central planning authority or individuals chosen by the central planning authority are the ones that are going to make the decision that we are going to use 50 people and 2 computers to produce this. We are going to use this particular plant to produce this, the how to produce parts. Another thing that you'll find in a command system is you're going to find they do rationing. They might not have prices, they will say that when you reach, I'm sure you've heard about countries where they say, when you reach the age of 25, you get a house or you get a car or something like that. That's centralized nature. They're saying that to distribute, we don't want to use prices to say whoever can afford a car. No. Anyone above the age of 25 should be given a car. That's the decision that they are making in a what? In a command system. Please, let's make sure our mics are muted if we're not asking questions, so that there's no noise in the background. All right. So that's a command system, right? So is that what's happening in South Africa, if you ask yourself? Do we have a central planning authority that decides for everyone that you farmer in Mpumalanga, you produce wheat? You are, a manufacturer in KwaZulu-Natal, you produce these computers and etc. Do we have that in South Africa? The answer is no. Do we have rationing in South Africa where we are told that come and collect your beer for the year or come and collect your food for the year? No, we don't have that. So we don't have a central planning authority. We don't have rationing, which means that we don't have a command system in South Africa. On the other hand, another system to answer those three economic questions is what is called a market system. Now, what is a market system? A market system is a system where there is no centralized decision making, where all decisions are made by individuals based on their self-interest. What do I mean by that? I mean that the person who decides what to produce will only decide what to produce if it benefits them. This means that Pick and Pay will only decide they will sell bread if bread benefits them. Right? If they think that they can sell bread and get a profit, then they'll sell bread. If someone thinks that they can manufacture some turkeys, they can manufacture some sneakers and get a profit, then they will manufacture sneakers. If a farmer thinks that they can grow potatoes and make a profit, i.e. self-interest, remember we said rational consumers, self-interest, if they think they can benefit, then they make that decision. That is a market system. How about buying? So that answers the question of what to produce. We're saying that they will only produce things that will benefit them, right? That's what to produce. What about how to distribute? We are saying in a market system, there are prices. No one forces anyone. There's a good and there's a price. If you want it, you buy it using your money. If you don't want it, you don't buy it. So guess what is going to happen? Some things are going to be bought, some things are not going to be bought. If you take a tomato and start selling it for 1,000 rand, people will not buy your tomatoes. So you cannot decide to distribute your tomatoes at 1,000 rand per tomato. Why? Because you're not going to benefit. Self-interest. So for you to benefit, you're going to reduce your price until you get to 10 rand when people start buying your tomatoes. So the decision to distribute is based on prices, on market forces, again, based on self-interest. What about how to produce? The how part, how do you produce? What do they do in a market economy? The business would attempt certain things. They will start with 2 tractors and 5 workers. They will see how much it costs. If they have a revenue of 10,000 and those resources cost them 10,000, there's no profit, they will not do that. But if they have a revenue of 10,000, those resources cost them 5,000, they're left with 5,000 profit, then they will say this is a good method of production. That is why people get hired and fired at the workplace. That is why people are retrenched at the workplace. It's a decision that they're making based on self-interest. So you can see something that is interesting here. Under the command economy, there is no self-interest. There is centralized planning. There is community interest, what is benefiting the whole community. But under the market system, there is self-interest. Now you might ask yourself, is this what is happening in South Africa? To a certain extent, you will answer yes. Yes, we use prices in South Africa. Yes, each company can produce what they want in South Africa. Yes, each company can decide how to produce in South Africa. So to a certain extent, we do use the market system. But remember what I said, in the market system, there is no centralized planning at all. There is no authority that is put in terms of how you make decisions. But then I ask you, what is a minimum wage? Recently, the government said the minimum wage is now what, 20 rand something, if I'm not mistaken. What is the minimum wage? A minimum wage is authority. They are telling you that you cannot charge below a certain price, which means that although it's a market system, they are putting a little bit of authority in there, which introduces you to the mixed economy. So the mixed economy is an economy such as South Africa, where you've got some concept of command authority and some concept of mixed self-interest, and you join them together and you get the what? The mixed economy. So to answer the question, what type of economy is the South African economy? The answer is it is a mixed economy, right? It is not command because it has no centralized authority. It is not a market system because there is some authority that exists. There are some minimum wages, some prices in the agriculture sector that are set by the government. Because we combine those two, we say it's mixed. Then traditional system, we don't usually talk about it in economics, is the feudal system that existed in the past, long back in the 1800s or 1700s or whatever it was. It's the laws that existed. So we don't really usually talk about it in economics. It's just a system of an economy that existed where there were kings, there was some form of taxes and etc. That's what they mean by the traditional system. So for 1.1, our answer is going to be B, the mixed economy. But you can see how I answered this question. I combined some of the theories in our introduction, and then I explained the better part of the economic system. So I'm not going to talk about economic systems anymore. We're actually done with that topic. If ever we are going to see it in your study module, because I've already explained it, right? So let's check the next one. This one we're going to skip. You want to understand it. This is PPC, the production possibility curve, the next topic that we're going to do next week. Let's look at the other one. Major flows in an economy. This one is secular flow of income. That's the other topic. Remember, I said 2 topics next week. I said PPC and secular flow of income. So 1.3, that's secular flow of income. 1.4, we did this one. What are the 4 factors of production? Remember what I said? They are called factors of production. They are called productive resources, or they are called economic resources. Yes. So does anyone want to attempt from what we talked about? This one, I think I explained it thoroughly. I just want to see if you guys are together with me. Anyone wants to attempt? What are the 4 factors of production? Those are the answers over there. I'm sure you can see them. Let me try to increase in case you're not seeing.
What are the 4 factors of
I think
economy?
it's land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship.
Yes, that's very correct. That's very correct. All the other answers are wrong. Why? Because number one, they talk about money. Remember what I said? Whenever you talk about money, money is not a factor of production. Don't let the question confuse you. Money is never a factor of production. Financial capital is never a factor of production. What you want is economic capital or just capital, either one of the 2 terms. Either it says economic capital or it says capital. Money is not a factor of production because money helps you get land, helps you get labor, helps you get capital. So it cannot be considered. It's a medium of exchange. When we talk about the definitions of money, say money is a store of value, money is a medium of exchange, and etc. It has got a lot of definitions. So money is not a factor of production. Very, very straightforward, right? So there's a certain concept. Let me explain this concept here. That you will notice it as we go further. Each factor of production is actually rewarded in economics. There is a reward for a factor of production. What do I mean by that? I'm saying that if you are the owner of land in South Africa, what do you get for the land that you own? You get rentals, right? If you own land, you are paid in rentals. So the income for land is rentals, right? What about labor? If you own labor, what do you get? You get wages. The income for labor is wages. What about capital? If you own capital, what you get? You get interest. The income for capital is what is called interest. What do you get when you get entrepreneurship? You get profit. Every entrepreneur gets what? Gets profit. The income for entrepreneurship is profit. We'll talk about this in detail when we do the secular flow of income next week. All right. Let's check another one. All right. All right. 1.5, some calculations. I think this is topic number 3 when we do demand and supply. We're going to cover that. Let's see. True or false? That is question number 2. Let's see if there's something that we've covered. Revenue marginal cost, not yet. A budget line, real wage, not yet. So this one, question number 2, we've not yet covered that. Let's go to question number 3. Let's see. Define the following economic terms, right? What is economics? What is human capital? What is a public good? What is cross elasticity? What is second degree price discrimination? So the last 2, we've not yet covered them. But the first 3, we've covered them. So what is economics? We've already defined what economics is all about. So in answering your question, economics is the study of the trade-offs that happen because of the choices we make because of scarcity. That's one way of looking at it. Or economics is the study of human behavior in relations to the choice that has to be made to satisfy unlimited wants when economic resources are limited in nature. That's another definition that you can look at. So there are various definitions that you can get even online if you type. You can get a lot of different definitions. But however you're defining economics, the most important thing is you have to include unlimited wants. You have to include limited means or scarcity. You have to include the issue of study of choices being made. You are studying choices. You are studying human behavior. You're studying how people think, how people react to unlimited wants when they have got limited resources. That's what economics is all about, right? Then second question, what is human capital? Human capital is labor. That's basically what human capital is. It's the contribution that human beings make to the production process, whether physically or intellectually. The contributions that human beings make to the production process, whether physically or intellectually, also known as labor factor of production. So that's human capital, right? So there's economic capital. Economic capital, that's what we're talking about. The tractors at the farm, the computers at a manufacturing plant, the plant itself, the buildings that you have at your business, that's economic capital. But human capital is the labor being provided, right? Let's look at the other one, public good. So remember, we talked about an economic good, we talked about a free good. And then I sort of highlighted what a public good is. I didn't talk about that, but I highlighted. I said that an economic good, we said it's anything that you pay for. And I said a free good is anything that you don't pay for, right? But it is abundantly available, like oxygen. But a public good now is a good that is provided to the public by a central authority such as the government. The reason why they usually provide public goods, now this is a bit deeper, but I'm just going to say it. The reason why it's what we call public goods is because there are certain difficulties in distributing the public good. Let me say it this way. The police, for example, the police force or the army, it's a public good. It's provided to you. You are provided with protection services by SAPS or by SANDF, right? At the end of the day, they protect you. But have you ever asked yourself, what if you had to go and pay and buy them individually? Would you go and do that? How would they charge their price?
No.
It's difficult for them to charge their services. Why? Because if they cannot protect one house without protecting the house that is next to it. Or, for example, street lighting, the lighting in your street where you stay, right? If the municipality puts a street light, right, you can choose to say, I don't want to pay for it, I don't want the street light. But they're not going to say you can no longer walk in the street because that's where your house is. So those are the difficulties of public goods. So there are goods that cannot naturally be distributed by profitable businesses. Therefore, they're distributed by municipalities, central governments, and etc. Right? So they're essentially like free goods, but they are not free because they are paid for through the taxes that you pay, through the municipality rates that you pay. And they are not abundantly available. Why? Because they use resources. They are scarce in a way, just like your normal economic goods. So that's your public goods. You can type online and get a better wording in terms of the definition, but that's basically what public goods are all about. So that's question number 3 there. Let's see. Question number 3. If not yet done that. Question number 3.3. Right? Question number 3.3, use your own example to provide a detailed explanation of the economic concept of opportunity cost. So what is the economic opportunity cost? We've talked about this. What did we say? We said that, number 1, there is unlimited wants. You as an individual, you want everything. Then number two, the unlimited resources that you have. Right? So unlimited wants, limited resources. What is going to happen is you have to make a choice. How do I spend my income? How do I spend my resources? But when you make that choice, you choose between your computer and your laptop. You choose between the car and the bicycle. You choose between certain types of food. You have to make a choice. And when you make a choice, you forego something. You have a trade-off. And we said, by definition, opportunity cost is the what? Is the value of the next best alternative forgone when making a choice. You can give an example in the question and say, for example, if we were to assume a country can either produce cars or they can produce wheat in a given year, and the country decides that we are going to only produce wheat instead of cars. Therefore, the opportunity cost of the wheat produced in that country are the cars that you can take a simpler example. Please make sure you're.
James, sorry, do you mind repeat that answer? The voices at the back.
Let's make sure we are muted, guys. All right. So I'll give another example and then I'll repeat. So the second example that I wanted to give. Let's give the example of a student. Right? A student can make a choice. Right? The first is you have a little bit of a stipend that you've been provided by your parents. You've been given 2,000 rand at the end of the month. Now, with that 2,000 rand, right, you can either buy a cell phone, right? Maybe it's a Techno, one of those cheaper ones. You can either buy a cell phone or you can buy an iPad, right? So if you buy the cell phone, you can no longer access the iPad, which means that the iPad becomes the opportunity cost of the cell phone, right? Or maybe it's on a particular day and you've got 30 rand in your account, and you go on Mr. D and you try to buy something on Mr. D. You can either buy from KFC or you can buy from Nando's. It's the same price. So if you buy from KFC, therefore Nando's becomes the what? Therefore Nando's becomes the opportunity cost. So the opportunity cost, basically, we said is the definition. The opportunity cost is the value of the next best alternative forgone in making a choice. The value of the next best alternative forgone in making an economic choice. So whenever we've got two choices, the next best alternative forgone is the opportunity cost. In my larger example, where I said either wheat or cars, you chose wheat, cars became the opportunity cost. In my other example, either laptop or iPad, you choose laptop, iPad becomes the opportunity cost. In my smaller example, either KFC or Nando's, you choose KFC, Nando's becomes the opportunity cost that you have what? That you have suffered as the result of the choice that you have made. I hope it's now clear.
Yes, thanks. Thanks.
Okay, let's see. 3.4, we haven't done that one. For question 4, we haven't done these ones yet. Let's see. Not yet. Question 5, these are graphs, not yet. Not yet. I think that's it. I think the rest of these questions, we are yet to do them. Let's see. Budgeting, not yet. So you see what I was talking about. There's a lot of figures that you see. So there are a bit of calculations that you need to do, a bit of understanding of graphs that you need to do. All right. No. All of this stuff we have not yet done it. So we are going to proceed in the next class, right? So like I said, as we do the classes, we are also going to be doing your assignment and covering them. So you can already see that we've already covered part of your assignment. I don't know how many marks you covered, but that's basically how we usually go through the classes. So we cover the content, we cover maybe a unit, or we cover 2 units. Then after that unit, maybe we have another class where we focus on the assignment questions that relate to that unit. So that as we do the assignment, as we do the units, you also get the questions from the assignment. Then in addition, like I said, we also do some past exams. You got something to say? Okay, I think maybe it was just him. All right. So are there any questions for me? Any specific questions?
So James, do you have to, if you want to attend the classes, do you have to pay upfront?
Yes, like I said, the total cost is 750. You can pay it in installments, but yes, you have to make a deposit for you to be able to join the class.
How many classes do you offer for that amount?
I offer a class every week until we complete what we need to complete, until we go through the whole module, until we go through the whole assignment and do 1 or 2 past exam papers. Usually,
do you even cover exams?
Past exam papers, yes. We'll cover at least two past exam papers.
Okay.
It might take 8 weeks. It might take more than that. It just depends with the class that I have, because I try also to make sure that you guys have got enough time to ask questions, to contribute, to see that we are learning together. But on average, it can take 8 weeks. If you are first 6 weeks, but I doubt it. It will take around 8 weeks or slightly more than that.
Yeah.
Slightly more than that.
Okay.
I said it's usually I just budget around 3 months maximum. That's why the payments are also, like I said, 250.
Oh, okay. So surely if you then, you will cover everything until after exam. That's basically what you're saying.
Yes, we'll cover everything that you need to know in preparation for the exam. But in addition to prepare for the exam, we are going to go through your assignment. But basically, the way we structure our lectures is to prepare you for the exam at the end of the semester. That's the goal. But as we do that goal, we also know you've got an assignment that needs to be done. So we'll go through the assignment also.
That's awesome.
Any other questions for me?
Evening, James.
Yes, correct.
Do you have a specific evening that you do the classes on? For argument's sake, the 10A, is it on every Thursday, or how do you structure that?
It's most likely going to be every Thursday. However, given the students that would have paid, if 90% of the students agree to change it to a specific day, let's say they say one Saturday morning or something like that, I am very lenient. We can work it out. As long as I am personally free on that day, I don't have a problem with it. Even if they say, let's do it twice a week, it's very rare for me to say twice a week. But like I said, it's we can talk. We definitely can talk. But for now, for your planning purposes, just say every Thursday for your planning purposes. But once you have come into the paid class, of course, you've paid some money, so I'm willing to listen and see if we can change whatever needs to be changed. But for now, plan with every Thursday.
And the material that you were showing us as slides, is that would that become available to us in an email format or something? And that would obviously be once we've paid, if I'm correct.
Yes, the slides will be available, but I will only make them available to the students that have paid. But the slides will be available. Yes.
Oh, sorry, James. Yes, okay. I'm also doing economics 15B, like I'm doing 15A and 15B. So I wanted to check, do you also cater for 15B?
Yes, we have a class tomorrow. Unfortunately, it won't be me. It will be Professor Fortune. He's my colleague. He will be taking economics 10B. He's the one who usually takes it a little bit better. He will practice. With time, he has done it quite a lot. So he's the one who takes economics B, which is tomorrow. Same time, basically, on Fridays. Yes.
All right. Can you also connect me with him? I think that, but that will be an aside discussion. It's fine with you.
It's fine. Just send me a message on WhatsApp. I will definitely do that for you.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, James.
Any other questions for me?
James, your WhatsApp number, you said now just send me a WhatsApp. Where do we get your WhatsApp number?
Are you in the group?
Yes.
If you're in the group, you might be able to access it in the group. But if you are not, let me just hold on.
Participant?
Yeah. I'm going to be sending something in the group. It will be very obvious in the group when you see the messages coming. But in case you don't, you can just, this one over here. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes. Okay, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 3,000 071 3,000. Something doesn't make sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 0, 0, 0, 6, 3, 4. Thank you.
Right. Wonderful. Okay, so that's my number in case you need it. Then outside the scope of me going through the lectures with you guys, I'm a tutor by nature. So if you also need assistance outside tutoring, not the tutoring part, if you need assistance with your assignments and etc., you can also send me a message. We can see how we can help each other out. I've got a group of tutors. I think I've got 45 different tutors that I work with that are specialists in their different areas. If you need someone to write something for you, they can definitely do that for you. They usually just communicate through me. So my number, I'm sure you've taken my number. If you need that type of a service, we are available to assist you. But for now, let's focus on the tutoring part. So economics A today, then a B tomorrow, but I'm sure most of you are not yet doing B. You probably do it in the next semester, right? But for those that are doing B, we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you guys for coming in. I hope you have a pleasant evening. Yes.
This really helped a lot. Thank you so much. The input was really fantastic.
Thank you so much, James. Thanks, everyone.